into the head of the jury members. Deliberations, jury consultant Theresa Zagnoli, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Let's start with the makeup. Majority, clear majority, female.
Right.
Does gender count? Matter?
I think gender counts. It was probably a deliberate attempt to get so many women on the jury.
Why?
Well, jurors are, for the prosecution's point of view, women jurors have a tendency to be more critical. They politics. They find they're more offensive. Men are a little more cynical, and this is just speaking gender generalities. But men are a little more cynical. Oh, that's politics. That happens. Women, we want things in the world to be a little bit more
black and white.
Yeah. Well, we want it to be just right.
But not more sympathetic? I would think women would be a little more sympathetic.
They're more sympathetic when it comes to in a civil case. If you've got a plaintiff who has a baby who's been injured, then that's sympathy.
Okay.
But there's probably not a lot of sympathy being played in this courtroom in this case.
Right. Right. And talking about that, the fact that Blagojevich did testify, the gentleman you heard a little while ago from the last case said that's not going to make that much of a difference. Do you agree?
I don't know if it made a difference as to whether or not somebody would vote yay or nay.
Right.
But 7 days, I don't know anybody I'd want to listen to for 7 days. And so it probably just got to be annoying at some point for the jurors. I'm sure at some point there were some moments where they're thinking, okay, the prosecutors have really twisted this, and maybe his story is better, maybe his story is a little clearer. But for the most part, it was 7 days of self-promotion. It was, as Blagojevich said himself, it was me telling my story, and what did he say? I'd have been on the stand for 2.5 years if that's what it would have taken.
Day one, they started about 11 a.m. They took a lunch break. They were done by 4. What happens today?
They did nothing.
Nothing.
They did nothing. They probably, and I'm pure conjecture, but I'm guessing they elected a foreperson.
Okay.
Right.
And they started to look at the questions that they have to answer, and they started to look at the legal instructions that match up those questions. I mean, they still have, even in a streamlined case, they still have 20 counts to go through.
Yeah.
And so it may be streamlined as to how the evidence is put on, but the jury instructions are still a stack high.
Right.
And 20 counts is a lot of yes and no's to checks.
Right. We've seen lots of movies about, jurors in the jury room and this, that, and the other. So those personalities are going to start coming out at some point, though, aren't they?
Yes.
When does
and
that
that'll
happen?
determine what happens right away. It'll happen. It's probably already happened. I mean, they've been together now for weeks. And so personalities, little cliques have formed, and people have started to like each other or not like each other, and there'll be the smokers, and they'll go out together and then
chat.
Right. And so you have different organizations within the organization.
Little factions.
And then the foreperson had to be elected today.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that always brings up, there's usually a social leader of some sort, and then there's an aggressive leader. And
Now, assuming that this jury knows that Rod Blagojevich got off on a majority of the counts, almost all of them, last time, I know it's not supposed to play in their heads, but does it play in a human being's head the second time?
Of course. You can never come to a jury with a clear mind.
Right.
And so for as much as they tell you to leave your biases and leave all that, it's impossible. You don't leave any of that at home.
Does that favor him?
So I'm sure it plays in. It may favor him on some of the counts. Some of the counts still seem a little iffy, and they may think back to what their opinion was the last time. But this jury, they're going to take a new look, and they want it to be their verdict. And so while it may overlay, it won't have a strong influence.
And remember quickly when Blagojevich wanted to shake the hand of the prosecutor, he said no, but then the judge said this is what happens. Is that still in their head? Are they still thinking that, or do they say forget it after the judge said ignore it?
They didn't say forget it because the judge said ignore it. But it's probably not playing because it wasn't evidence. It was just a moment. Yeah. And there are so many moments like that in a trial.
Theresa Zagnoli, thank you. Jury
It's my
consultant.
pleasure.
Thanks for the insight. Appreciate it.
It's good to be here.
Still ahead, what's inside thousands of emails Sarah Palin wrote while she was governor of Alaska.